Shinobi Undercover, a world where modern-day ninjas hide in the shadows to fight evil. Chapter 1: A Ninja's Work. The scene opens with a tense confrontation. A young ninja with intense eyes holds a man from behind. With a swift and brutal movement, the ninja snaps the man's neck, neutralizing the threat. He then drops the body to the checkered floor below, leaving a trail of defeated enemies. This is Yudaka, a modern-day ninja. These shinobi exist even now, operating in the shadows to eliminate threats to the nation's peace as part of the ninja public safety force. Having cleared the building, Yudaka approaches the man he was sent to rescue, a kidnapped politician who is shaken but alive. Yudaka reports into his earpiece, his codename revealed as Yudaka, the Nightjar. His superior confirms the mission is complete and thanks him. His orders are to wait 5 minutes for the recovery team to arrive and then return to base. Yudaka is left alone with the rescued politician. 5 whole minutes? Yudaka panics internally as the grateful politician begins to thank him profusely, saying he owes the ninja his life. The politician offers to repay him, but Yudaka, clearly uncomfortable with the social interaction, awkwardly dismisses the offer. Suddenly, a picture frame falls over, distracting the politician. When he looks back, Yudaka is gone, having vanished into thin air. From a ledge outside the window, Yudaka gets an earful from his superior. He used a stealth retreat ninjutsu to escape the awkward conversation, much to his boss's annoyance. Leaping across the moonlit city, Yudaka reflects on how hopeless he is at human interaction. The thought of spending 5 minutes with a stranger was just too much to bear. The next day, Yudaka is perched on a rooftop in a school uniform, apologizing for his behavior. His superior, still annoyed, tells him it's fine and moves on to the next mission. Yudaka looks out over a large high school. This will be the location of his next assignment. For the foreseeable future, he'll be on a bodyguarding mission. His assignment, at first glance, appears to be just an average high school girl. Yudaka is horrified. He sputters into his comms, reminding his superior that he's awful at talking to girls. If he can't talk to men, who can he talk to? He continues to panic, stating that this mission goes against everything he was taught about being stealthy. His boss tells him to lower his voice as a car pulls up to the school gate. From the back seat, a cheerful blonde girl in a school uniform announces she's heading out. Her driver reminds her to be careful. She laughs it off, saying she's not a little kid. All the while, other students, including a boy with spiky blonde hair, watch her arrive. As she steps out of the car, she immediately trips, hitting her head on the door frame and stumbling out onto the pavement. She lands in a heap on the ground, her school bag flying open and scattering books, papers, and her lunch all over the place. Watching from a distance, Yudaka is stunned into silence by the chaotic scene. The girl lies sprawled amidst her belongings, right next to the car. Lying on the ground, the girl looks up and wryly admits that maybe she should watch her step after all. Her driver simply replies, "Indeed." Back on the rooftop, Yudaka's superior delivers the final blow. That is your assignment for this mission. Aoi Mukai. He's then told that she has been classified as among the most challenging wards to protect, a fact Yudaka screams he could have guessed. Down below, Aoi continues to gather her things. As her driver gives her some final words of caution, she wonders aloud if her lunchbox survived the fall. The driver bluntly informs her that it has assuredly not. As Aoi Mukai walks away with a smile, Yudaka notices she dropped a small keychain. His superior immediately sees this as a great opportunity and orders him to give it back to her. Yudaka panics, planning to stealthily return it later without her knowing. But his superior shouts through the earpiece, "No stealth. Go talk to her," an order that goes against his very nature. Forced into action, Yudaka awkwardly approaches Aoi, stammering as he holds out the tiny panda keychain. She looks over, surprised, and confirms that it's hers. Aoi thanks him, and Yudaka flinches from the simple interaction. She asks if he's a new student, and he nervously stammers out a confirmation. With a bright smile, Aoi reveals that she's a first-year student too, and says it's nice to meet him. After that surprisingly pleasant interaction, Yudaka is filled with a sudden, misplaced optimism. "I think this mission is going to go fine," he thinks, much to his superior's disbelief. As they walk through the school's entrance, Yudaka is reminded that the higher-ups are fully aware of his unique personality. He's told to focus on what he excels at: combat. His superior explains that other ninjas are also present at the school. Yadaka already knew he'd impressively picked them out from the crowd earlier, noticing a scary look in their eyes that he didn't like. The most important rule of the mission is reiterated. It must be accomplished without the assignment, Aoi, ever finding out that she is being guarded. Because of this requirement, Aoi has no idea that her school has been infiltrated by deployed ninja, who pose as the people all around her, her neighbors, friends, and even her teachers. Yadaka's specific role is to act as the final safety net. When none of the other ninja can help, he is the one who must ensure the assignment's safety. He panics, worrying that if he fails, the other ninja will hate him. Yadaka enters his new classroom as his superior tells him to take a look around. He sees Aoi already chatting with two other students who ask if she's okay after her tumble. One of the students, a girl with glasses, is introduced as Kana Fujimiya, codenamed Hibari, the Skylark. She kindly asks Aoi if she was hurt or needs to go to the nurse's office. The other, a boy with spiky blonde hair, is Taki Utsumi, codenamed Ominiko, the Gull. These two, along with another named Unozoki, are the other undercover ninjas Yadaka needs to be aware of for now. The long-term plan is for Kana and Taki to become Aoi's best friend and boyfriend, respectively. Hearing this, Yadaka feels relieved, thinking he has the easy role since he doesn't have to get close to her. The superior confirms the plan. Kana and Taki will eventually become her friend and boyfriend to gain full control over the assignment school life. Yadaka watches from his desk as the others talk to Aoi, realizing this means she'll be living a completely fake life, orchestrated to guarantee she has excellent friends and a good life without ever knowing the truth. But the thought of this curated life strikes a chord with Yadaka. He breaks down, slamming his fists on his desk, thinking how much he wants that, even if the friends are fake. High above the school, the superior muses on the scale of the operation, noting how many of their few teenage ninja are assigned here. He tells Yadaka to simply follow orders as usual. A teacher announces the start of the entrance ceremony, telling students to head to the gym. Taki tells the group he's sticking with the guys, and Kana gives Aoi Roger that, as they prepare to leave. Aoi tells Kana to go on ahead, as she needs to use the bathroom first. Kana kindly offers to wait so they can walk over together, but Aoi insists it's fine. Kana worries she was rushing things and not acting natural. She decides to go ahead to the gym, figuring Aoi will be along shortly anyway. As Aoi heads to the bathroom, the classroom empties out, leaving Yadaka alone at his desk. He miserably asks his superior if he really has to go to the ceremony, and gets a firm yes in response. Yadaka's social anxiety flares up as he imagines walking down the center aisle with hundreds of people staring at him. He really doesn't want to go. Unseen by him, Aoi peeks into the classroom from the hallway. Aoi suddenly appears, having returned from the bathroom, and surprises Yadaka. She catches him alone in the classroom and asks if he's ditching the ceremony. He frantically denies it. Meanwhile, at the gymnasium, Kana Fujimiya reports in, her codename revealed to be Hibari. The assignment, Aoi has not arrived. Kana realizes she messed up by letting her go alone. Taki Utsumi, however, isn't worried. He's received a report that Yadaka has eyes on her. This piques Kana's interest. She's heard rumors that Yadaka is the best ninja in their age cohort and is curious to see if they're true. Back in the hallway, Yadaka is getting an earful from his superior for not approaching Aoi yet. Yadaka yells back, arguing that they haven't reached a stage in their relationship where he can just talk to her, much to his superior's exasperation. The argument continues, with Yadaka frozen by the fear of being seen as creepy. His superior yells that something could happen while his eyes are off her, but Yadaka dismisses the concern, thinking she couldn't possibly run into trouble that fast. Famous last words. Yadaka peeks around a corner just in time to see that Aoi has impossibly tripped and gotten a trash can stuck on her head, surrounded by a mess of empty bottles. Never mind, he thinks, retracting his previous statement. He rushes out, wondering how this could have happened in a split second. Is it an enemy? Meanwhile, Aoi, stuck in the trash, bemoans her fate, wondering how messing up her shoelaces led to this absurd situation. Yadaka rushes to her side, asking if she's okay. Aoi, seeing that he finally came, sarcastically asks if he can't tell her condition by looking. Yadaka can only stare at the bizarre scene before him. With the trash can still on her head, Aoi insists she is completely fine. Yadaka can only think, could have fooled me, but he's relieved she's not actually hurt. After helping her clean up the mess, they walk down the empty school hallway. Aoi thanks him for his help, and he asks if she's sure she doesn't want to go to the entrance ceremony. Yadaka pathetically explains that he doesn't want to go because if he walks in late, everyone will look at him. Aoi astutely picks up on his core issue, asking, "You don't like attention?" Just the thought of being the center of attention sends Yadaka into a fit of trembling. He compares himself to a supercharged washing machine, shaking uncontrollably from head to toe. Aoi bursts into laughter at the ridiculous sight. "How are you shaking so bad?" she exclaims, pointing out that his dramatic shaking is actually drawing more attention to him. As they continue walking, Aoi grows thoughtful. She confesses that she sometimes feels like things are too convenient, or that people do dumb things for her benefit. Yadaka wonders if she's starting to notice the truth of her situation. Unbeknownst to her, the public safety ninja had been watching over Aoi since she was young, fabricating a normal life for her. She may be subconsciously picking up on how artificial it all is. Yadaka silently considers her words. Perhaps Aoi's strange behavior and desire to skip the ceremony stem from a wish to escape that artificial sense of normality, to be different. Aoi then asks Yadaka why he's telling her all this. She reveals that this is the first time she's ever told anyone these feelings. Absorbed in the conversation, Yadaka is surprised when she points out he stopped shaking. Yadaka manages a small, genuine smile. Aoi seems a little disappointed that the show is over, calling it funny while it lasted, but a real connection seems to be forming between them. Aoi tells a worried Yadaka not to be so loud, reassuring him they won't get in trouble. She confidently states she isn't walking around without a plan, just as she runs off ahead of him. Just as Aoi boasts about paying attention to her surroundings, she slams face first into a teacher rounding the corner. Yadaka flinches as the man's clipboard goes flying. Aoi falls to the floor while the teacher, an imposing man with a beard named Nakamura, scolds her. "You scared me," she retorts, telling him he should pay attention. He asks what 2 first years are doing here when the ceremony has started. Yadaka awkwardly pats Aoi's head. Nakamura orders them to go to the ceremony and report to the staff office after asking for their names. Aoi confidently gives her name and class. Yadaka nervously gives his cover name, Yunozoki, and his class. As he takes down their names, Nakamura's sinister, true intentions are revealed. His plan is to knock out the target, Aoi, and get her in his car. He clicks his pen, preparing to strike. In a flash, as Nakamura turns, he attempts to jab Yadaka in the neck with a pen. But Yadaka's ninja reflexes are faster. He catches the pen and delivers a powerful strike to Nakamura's neck, instantly neutralizing the threat. Yadaka feels a small prick in his neck, realizing the pen's tip was a syringe. As his superior immediately demands an update, Yadaka already begins to analyze the new threat. He coolly reports that he was injected with a tranquilizer, but that drugs won't work on him. Nakamura, stunned on the floor, can only stare in disbelief at Yadaka's resilience, confirming he is not an ally. Yadaka quickly confirms with his superior if there are any public safety ninja disguised as a teacher named Nakamura. The answer is no. Yadaka sweats, realizing it's painfully obvious this man is an enemy. The order comes in loud and clear through his earpiece. Eliminate him before the assignment notices, Yadaka. Yadaka gives a nervous Roger that, as he sizes up the threat. Nakamura, recovering from the first blow, gets to his feet and demands to know who Yadaka is. Instead of answering, Yadaka lunges forward, launching a powerful open-palmed strike directly at Nakamura's chest, his eyes wide with intensity. With incredible control, Yadaka stops his palm just centimeters from Nakamura's face, the force of his intended blow rippling through the air. Before Nakamura can even process the feint, Yadaka pivots, swinging his arm around for a swift and decisive karate chop aimed at the back of his neck. But once again, Yadaka halts the attack just before impact. His eyes dart nervously over his shoulder as Aoi calls out from down the hall, "Hey, are you coming?" Nakamura stares in disbelief as Yadaka rushes past him with a quick, "Oh sorry," hurrying to catch up with the oblivious Aoi. Aoi wonders why the teacher suddenly stopped. Nakamura, however, understands perfectly. Yadaka is trying to hide his identity from the girl. Yadaka frets, caught between his mission and his target's presence. Yadaka's eyes narrow with focus. He understands the gravity of the situation. An enemy has made a move, and he must act without revealing his purpose to Aoi. Nakamura tries to press his advantage, but Yadaka blocks his path. The enemy ninja realizes he's safe as long as the girl is watching. Yudaka trembles with anxiety, while Aoi cluelessly asks him what's wrong. Seeing his opportunity, Nakamura tries to make a break for it, yelling at the two students to head to the ceremony. But Yudaka sees right through the act, knowing the enemy intends to escape. While Aoi thinks they're off the hook, Yudaka quickly makes an excuse, telling her he needs to make a pit stop at the bathroom. It's the perfect pretext to pursue his target. As Nakamura flees down the hall, he curses his luck. This was supposed to be a simple kidnapping. He recalls the rumors he's heard about the public safety force and the monsters they employ. His escape is cut short as Yudaka suddenly appears perched silently above the doorframe in front of him. Nakamura realizes he's cornered by one of the monsters he'd heard about, a ninja. Stunned, Nakamura asks how he got up there. Yudaka nonchalantly apologizes for running in the halls and tells Aoi, who is now in the washroom, that he's not a real teacher, so she can ignore the school rules. Cornered, Nakamura tries to reason with Yudaka, telling him something isn't right with Aoi. He reveals that she has a price on her head in the underworld and has no parents or siblings. The enemy ninja drives his point home. Aoi is completely on her own. Nobody will help her. The words hang in the air as Yudaka listens intently. Yudaka finally understands. It's because of people like Nakamura that Aoi feels her life is artificial. He flashes back to his own lonely past, surrounded by defeated foes, and empathizes with what it's like to be on your own. Nakamura changes tactics, resorting to bribery. He asks how much Yudaka is being paid and offers to double or even triple it if he joined his organization. Yudaka calmly raises a finger to his lips, silencing the enemy. It's not about the money, he states simply. In a blur of motion, Yudaka throws the tranquilizer pen past Nakamura's head, embedding it in the wall as a distraction. He vanishes from sight, leaving the enemy confused. You probably wouldn't understand, Yudaka's voice echoes. Appearing from above, Yudaka delivers a powerful, flying kick directly to Nakamura's head, ending the confrontation for good. As he lands, Yudaka reveals his true, comically selfish reason for refusing the offer. If he joined a new organization, he'd have to meet new people and answer questions about where he came from. He couldn't handle the social pressure. Looking down at the unconscious Nakamura, Yudaka reflects on his duty. It's not just about avoiding social pressure. It's about his conviction that nobody is truly alone. The nation has our backs, he concludes, reaffirming his commitment. After the eventful entrance ceremony, the first day of school comes to a close, and students begin to head home. Back in the classroom, Kana asks Aoi if she wants to walk home together. Aoi politely declines, explaining that she's getting picked up. She then spots Yudaka packing his bag and calls out to him. Aoi calls out, "Hey," making the already anxious Yudaka flinch. It seems she has something to say to him before she leaves, as Kana and Taki watch with interest. In the hallway, Aoi gets straight to the point, asking Yudaka if he's interested in making friends. Caught completely off guard, he can only stammer out a flustered, maybe. Closing the distance between them, Aoi looks him in the eye and asks an even more direct question. "Then want to be friends with me?" Yudaka is so shocked he can barely process the words. Watching from the classroom doorway, Taki whispers to Kana that there must be something seriously wrong with Aoi for her to be so forward. Aoi tells Yudaka that it's fine if he wants to be a loner, giving him an out. Yudaka is internally conflicted. He thinks, "I'm not." His entire life has been dedicated to being a shinobi living in the shadows, and making friends goes against everything he's been taught. He panics, frantically asking his superior for guidance. His ninja training taught him to forge no ties, but just as he's about to refuse, a new shocking order comes through his earpiece: befriend her. Caught between his lifelong training and a direct order from his superior, not to mention Aoi's expectant face, Yudaka is completely overwhelmed. He finally stammers, let me think about it, leaving his future relationship with Aoi uncertain as the chapter comes to a close. Bokwa title panel. Continuing from the last chapter, we see Yudaka, a public safety ninja, perched on a skyscraper. His current mission is so secret that he must not even reveal it to the person he is assigned to protect. However, Yudaka faces a problem. The person he must protect, a girl named Aoi Mukai, has just asked him to be friends. For a skilled ninja, this should be simple. But Yudaka is hopeless when it comes to human interaction, and all he can do is stammer that he needs to think about it. As he walks away, his operator, a mysterious woman known only as Number 9, immediately scolds him through his earpiece, questioning why he didn't just say yes and befriend Aoi. The pressure mounts on Yadaka. He wonders if he can really pull this off, but number 9 is relentless, asking him bluntly if he really thinks failure is an option. Number 9 continues to press him, asking if he'd rather spend his few days off hanging out with her. From Yadaka's perspective, this is clearly not a desirable alternative. He retorts that spending a day with her sounds exhausting. Number 9 is taken aback by his directness, but Yadaka insists she's just being mean now. Number 9 gets back to business, reminding Yadaka that this is a mission because Aoi is in constant danger. Just then, Aoi herself appears, cheerfully greeting Yadaka. Yadaka is shocked to see Aoi looking like a mess, with leaves stuck in her hair. She waves nonchalantly, explaining she had a little brush with a bush and even put her shoes on the wrong feet. Yadaka can't believe how clumsy she is. Aoi smiles and says she's fine. Yadaka tries to convince himself to not get involved, thinking she must be all right. She says she's heading to the nurse's office, but Yadaka, against his better judgment, can't help but ask again if she's really sure she's okay. Aoi turns back, then suddenly invites him to eat lunch together in the yard. As she says this, number 9's voice in his ear tells him this is the perfect chance to deepen his bond with the assignment. Yadaka is completely stunned into silence by the unexpected invitation. He descends into a full-blown panic. To him, having lunch with a girl is a disaster, made even worse by the fact that his lunch is just leftovers from the previous night's dinner. Yadaka waits alone in the schoolyard, remembering Aoi's instructions to go ahead while she buys drinks. The pressure is almost unbearable for him, and number 9's voice chimes in, painfully pointing out what a lonely life he leads. He sinks into his thoughts, admitting that he's afraid of bonding with others because he's terrified of eventually disappointing them. He concludes that if he keeps his distance from the start, then no one can get hurt. It's a sad justification for his isolation, driven by his personality and inability to talk to people. The scene flashes to an image of him in his ninja gear. He tells himself that even without friends, he still has his job. This is the life he knows. Number 9's voice cuts through his thoughts, calling him conceited. She argues that he can't disappoint anyone because he's never gotten to know anyone well enough, and no one has any interest in him anyway. Yadaka is left confused. She tells him to stop worrying about disappointing people and just focus on his job as a ninja, which is to make a friend in the first place. Her words snap him back to reality. He remembers Aoi asked him to find a spot for them to eat. As he wonders where to go, he clumsily knocks over a bottle on the ground. The bottle belongs to a group of delinquents. Yadaka immediately panics and starts apologizing profusely, which only seems to amuse them. Sensing an easy mark, the delinquents surround Yadaka. Their leader demands to know how he'll make it up to them, then throws out an outrageous number, 30,000 yen. He leans in menacingly, asking if Yadaka is going to pay him back. Yadaka is trapped in a social nightmare. In his ear, number 9 warns him not to engage with civilians, adding that he's about to disappoint her. Too timid to just walk away, and terrified of the confrontation, Yadaka meekly asks if they would consider taking payments in installments. The bullies demand to see his wallet. Yadaka explains that as a strategy, he doesn't carry cash precisely so no one can steal it. The bullies check and, to their surprise, find his wallet is completely empty. Just as the tension escalates, Aoi comes into view, holding the drink she bought. Yadaka is horrified. His internal monologue screams at him to hide, terrified of how disappointed his assignment will be to see him in such a pathetic situation. But it's too late. She's spotted him surrounded by the delinquents. For Yadaka, this is the worst possible moment, and he internally laments that he didn't want her to see him like this. Stepping forward, Aoi calmly tells the bullies to cut it out, declaring that Yadaka is her friend. The delinquents laugh, mocking him and asking Aoi why she would ever want to be friends with such an embarrassment. Yadaka flinches at the insult, but Aoi looks the bully dead in the eye and, to Yadaka's utter astonishment, states firmly, he's not embarrassing. She even giggles slightly, adding, I think he's funny. The lead bully is stunned into silence, unable to process her confident defense of the timid Yadaka. The bully, angered by her response, starts to get aggressive. But Aoi, with a nervous smile, seems to accidentally bump into him as she passes by. The impact causes the bully to stumble and knock Aoi's lunchbox into the air. Yadaka can only watch in shock as the food she prepared goes flying. The bully and his friends erupt in laughter, mockingly apologizing and saying his hand slipped. They think it's hilarious, callously remarking how cruel it is to treat a first year that way. Aoi looks down at her ruined lunch. She quietly says that this doesn't bode well, as she had made it specifically because she wanted to eat with someone today. Seeing this, something inside Yadaka snaps. Onlooking students begin to whisper, wondering if they should call a teacher. The lead bully, enjoying the attention, menacingly leans toward Aoi and asks if she's got something to say. Before the bully can intimidate her further, a hand clamps down firmly on his shoulder. It's Yadaka, his expression now completely serious. The bully is shocked by Yadaka's sudden change in demeanor. He tries to shrug off the hand but finds that Yadaka's grip is like steel, he's not budging an inch. As the bully cries out in pain, Number 9's voice echoes in Yadaka's mind, reminding him not to butt heads with civilians. But Yadaka's resolve is firm. His mission is to become friends with Aoi, and he decides he can't back down now. With a newfound determination in his eyes, Yadaka declares that in this case, this is his duty as her friend. The bully is enraged, and even Aoi tells him to stop, fearing a fight is about to break out. But instead of throwing a punch, Yadaka does the unexpected. He bursts into a loud comical wail and starts running away like a coward. As he runs, he accidentally trips the lead bully, sending the larger boy tumbling forward. The bully hits the ground hard, and as he falls, a loud ripping sound is heard. The other students are confused by what just happened. The onlookers erupt in laughter, mocking the bully for getting taken down by a first year. Yadaka explains his ninja technique, the art of all assault, where he uses anything on hand as a weapon. His weapon of choice? A simple plastic divider from a lunchbox. He reveals that he used its sharp edge to slice the seam of the bully's pants right open. Quick thinking, though perhaps a bit unhygienic. By exposing his underwear, the bully has lost all dignity, and the fight is over before it even began. Humiliated, the delinquents make a hasty retreat. Yadaka reflects that he didn't butt heads with him directly, he just made him the butt of a joke. Aoi rushes over to Yadaka, asking if he's okay. Startled, he stammers a yes as she apologizes, feeling responsible for the trouble he got into. Looking at her spilled food, Aoi casually invokes the 5-second rule, preparing to eat it off the ground. Yadaka is internally horrified. But as they sit together, he finally lets out a genuine laugh, wondering why he was so scared before. As they sit on the grassy hill together, Aoi looks over at Yadaka and says plainly, "I want to be friends too." She clarifies that she's answering his non-response from the previous day. Yadaka is flustered, but she simply says bet, sealing their new friendship. For her, it's no longer about any mission, it's a genuine connection. As they sit together, Yadaka keeps trying to stop her from eating the dirty food, but Aoi keeps asking if it's okay, even if she washes it. And as he answers her, Yadaka realizes that his mission has changed. He doesn't just have to protect her anymore. Now, he genuinely wants to get to know her. The chapter begins with a menacing figure noting that the heroes aren't the only ones with undercover agents. In another room, a captured man learns that his target, Aoi Mukai, is being protected by public safety. At school, Yadaka, currently undercover as Nozuki, is reminded of the warning from the man apprehended on his first day. "We've got some too. You'd best watch yourselves." Yadaka is consumed by worry. The thought that enemies could be hiding anywhere, ready to strike at Aoi, is a struggle for him. But his social anxiety twists this into a different fear. Anyone could start talking to him at any moment. He quickly shuts the classroom door, stealing his resolve. He tells himself not to worry, and that he will protect the assignment by acting as Aoi's friend. Just then his target, the cheerful Aoi Mukai, startles him by calling out his undercover name, Nozuki. She excitedly tells him that a group of them are planning to go to karaoke. Yadaka immediately refuses, but Aoi laughingly informs him it's too late. She's already told everyone that the two of them are going together. Being dragged into a group social event is Yadaka's worst nightmare, and he lets out a silent, internal scream of terror. As they walk, one of Aoi's friends, Kana Fujimiya, notes how well Aoi and Yadaka have blended in. Aoi boasts that she'll dazzle everyone with her tambourine skills, but all Yadaka can feel is absolute terror. Another classmate startles Yadaka, asking how he got so close to Aoi. He reveals that when Aoi was invited, she didn't hesitate to ask if she could bring Yadaka along. Hearing this, a horrifying realization dawns on Yadaka. He believes Aoi is toying with him, intentionally putting him in this uncomfortable situation just to watch him squirm. His handler informs him via earpiece that this is a great opportunity. The other ninjas protecting Aoi have already integrated into the group. Taki Utsumi, codename Omaniko, and Kana Fujimiya, codename Hibari. The handler advises him that going it alone will be difficult. He needs to attempt to get closer to his new teammates, even if the connection is only superficial. Yadaka panics over what to talk about, ruling out top-secret ninja stuff. Just then, Taki Utsumi starts a conversation, asking if he goes to karaoke a lot, which only makes Yadaka more flustered. Taki casually mentions he hasn't been in a while because of tests. Kana also joins in, asking Yadaka if he has any good songs ready. As Yadaka stammers, Kana cheerfully decides to make her song choice a surprise for when they get there. The others continue their lighthearted chat about competing for the best score, but Yadaka feels completely left out, unable to keep up with the conversation despite his teammates' efforts to include him. As the group walks along the sidewalk, a large truck suddenly speeds past them, narrowly missing them. The three ninjas, Taki, Kana, and Yadaka, all glance back with suspicion. Inside the truck, a group of thugs led by a man known as Black Pig has spotted their target. They plan to tail Aoi and grab her when she's alone. The group arrives at the karaoke bar. While Aoi is excited about using the tambourine, Yadaka sits miserably with a pair of maracas, clearly not enjoying himself. Aoi heads to the bathroom with a friend. Taki watches them go and turns to Yadaka using his real code name for the first time. Yadaka, you sensed an enemy too, didn't you? Taki quickly formulates a plan. He instructs Yadaka to pretend to get a towel from the front desk after he creates a diversion, and then join Kana. As planned, Taki accidentally knocks over a glass of water, creating a commotion and apologizing loudly for the mess. Playing his part, a flustered Yadaka volunteers to go to the front desk to get a towel, giving him an excuse to leave the room. As he walks down the hall, Yadaka marvels at how different his teammates act in their civilian personas. He realizes they are true experts at infiltration, completely concealing their deadly skills to seamlessly blend in with the class. He contacts his handler, his thoughts turning to Kana's situation. At that very moment, the thugs from the truck are lying in wait outside the women's restroom. With Aoi accompanied by another girl, they decide to capture them both to ensure there are no witnesses. Inside the restroom, Kana Fujimiya confronts the thugs. Her demeanor shifts entirely as she takes off her glasses, an intimidating grin spreading across her face. She coldly informs the intruders that they have entered the little girl's room. Laying her hair down, Kana unleashes a wild, taunting laugh. She dares the thugs to come at her, effectively challenging them to a fight. Yadaka finally arrives at the hallway outside the restroom, but he stops dead in his tracks, shocked by the intense scene unfolding before him. As Kana single-handedly takes down the thugs, Yadaka's handler explains over the comms that this is the real Hibari, a ninja specialized for combat whose transformation surprises even him. With the threat neutralized, Kana furiously turns on Yadaka, yelling that he's late and asking if he wants to end up like the unconscious thugs on the floor. A terrified Yadaka can only apologize. Kana calmly orders Yadaka to open the window to air the place out. Through his earpiece, he gets an alert that their assignment, Aoi, is on the move, meaning she is approaching their location. To Yadaka's astonishment, Kana effortlessly disposes of the evidence by throwing all three unconscious thugs out of the open window. Just as the last thug is tossed out, Aoi appears in the hallway. Yadaka, seeing the fight is already over, wonders what he's even supposed to do now. Aoi innocently asks if he's going to the bathroom too. Yadaka panics, realizing in his haste he never put down the maracas from the karaoke room. Aoi mentions that it sounded like there was a commotion. Still shaking from the adrenaline, Yadaka frantically denies hearing anything, trying to play it cool. After composing himself slightly, Yadaka finally works up the courage to ask Aoi a question that's been bothering him. Why did she invite him? Aoi smiles warmly and gives her honest reason. She explains that she doesn't know anyone and would be lonely by herself, confessing that she needed him there with her. Yadaka is stunned by her sincerity. He admits that he thought she had invited him just to watch him squirm, a thought Aoi seems to have had about herself as well. Down on the street, Kana looks at the pile of thugs she threw from the window, annoyed that there were only 3. She realizes she left one of them, the leader, back up in the hallway. His handler warns him that they aren't in the clear yet. Having seen the remaining thug, Yadaka confirms he's noticed the lingering threat. Hiding down the hall, the last thug is terrified of Kana, calling her a monster. He decides to take out Yadaka and just make off with Aoi. The thug makes his move, charging down the hallway. Yadaka realizes he's too close to Aoi to engage in combat safely and needs a decoy to draw the enemy's attention. Right on cue, Taki Utsumi appears, nonchalantly claiming he spilled a drink and needs to wash it off. His sudden arrival provides the perfect distraction. As the thug charges, Taki calmly intercepts him. He presents the neutralized enemy to Aoi as if showing off a messy stain, leaving her and Yadaka speechless. Seizing the opportunity, Yadaka uses his maracas, shaking them violently right beside the thug's ears to incapacitate him with the jarring sound. Yadaka awkwardly explains to his confused teammates that he was just practicing his maraca serenade. Meanwhile, the last thug is sent flying out the window, joining his comrades below. Completely oblivious to the danger she was in, laughs, thinking it's all a game. She tells Yadaka that he can't beat her tambourine skills, while her 3 ninja protectors look on. As the group heads back to their karaoke room, Taki praises Yadaka, telling him it was great job working together for the first time. He looks back at his comrades and declares, "You make a good team." The new chapter begins in the classroom, where Aoi Mukai cheerfully suggests a trial. Her classmates mention that it's the trial period for school clubs. For the socially anxious Yadaka, however, the word trial takes on a completely different meaning. He internally panics, thinking of it as a trial of loneliness. Aoi tries to calm him down, explaining they're just talking about school clubs. But Yadaka is already spiraling, convinced he'll never be accepted in a club built on relationships. Later, Yadaka is back on duty, secretly communicating with his handler. He watches a classmate put up a poster as he gives his report on the assignment surroundings since the karaoke attack. He spots a concert band club poster. His ninja instincts kicking in, Yadaka expertly flicks a pushpin, sticking it perfectly to the poster, while concluding his report that he hasn't seen any suspicious people. His handler immediately scolds him for the unnecessary display of skill. Yadaka is shocked, realizing he treated the pushpin like a kunai, a move that is obviously not allowed while undercover. Yadaka ignores the scolding and continues his report, asking his handler who is after the assignment. The handler replies that the information is confidential. The handler explains that even in the ninja world, there are fugitive ninjas who sell information or defect. There's no telling who might defect or when. Unfazed, Yadaka declares that he would never defect and comically pleads to keep his job forever. His handler tells him to just stop. Just then, Aoi appears, having just come from the student store. She asks Yadaka if he wants to go home, catching him off guard. He mutters about her not being serious about the club trial. As they stand together, a commotion occurs. A boy with messy black hair drops his bread and cries out in anguish. The boy, surprisingly cheerful, introduces himself as Miyake, a classmate. He explains that he's in the soccer club but is stuck doing errands. He offers them a candy. An aggressive upperclassman with blonde hair appears, kicking a ball at Miyake and yelling at him for being late and crushing the bread. Yadaka is still upset about the bread, while Aoi looks on with a determined smile. As Miyake is dejectedly led away by the upperclassman, Aoi tells a stunned Yadaka that it's time to go home and that he shouldn't get involved. The upperclassman explains their system of hazing new members with a rigged game. Aoi steps forward, confronting him and asking if he thinks he's better just because he's an upperclassman. Yadaka panics, trying to stop Aoi from escalating the situation and creating more work for him. Aoi retorts that if they have a problem with it, they should just stop losing. While Yadaka cries out in distress, Aoi ignores him and challenges the upperclassman directly, demanding they be allowed to join the club on a trial basis and have a match with her. Aoi gives the upperclassman a confident, almost menacing smile, ready to see if they've really got the stuff to stand at the top. Now changed into gym clothes, Aoi rallies Yadaka and Miyake, declaring they'll make the upperclassmen eat their turds. Yadaka, caught in the middle, nervously tells himself to keep a low profile. The 4-4, first Gerwin's soccer match begins. Immediately, an upperclassman shows his poor sportsmanship by blasting the ball directly into Miyake's face. Yadaka staggers back, apologizing to a dazed Miyake. The upperclassman just mocked Miyake for his poor reaction. Aoi walks past them, unimpressed, and comments on how bad the upperclassmen are. Yadaka watches her, still flustered. The game continues. An upperclassman goes in for a rough tackle against Aoi, who deftly controls the ball. The upperclassman commits a blatant foul, tripping Aoi hard. As Yudaka rushes to her side, the bullies start arguing, trying to claim it was a clean play. Brushing off her scraped hands, Aoi insists she's completely fine. Yudaka, however, anxiously reminds her of the serious stakes. If they lose, they become the upperclassmen's servants. Aoi gets up determined. She refuses to lose to anyone so stuck up. Hearing this, Yudaka sighs and makes a decision. He can be a ninja as long as no one notices. Yudaka realizes that Aoi getting hurt has put the assignment in danger. With his eyes glowing with intensity, he decides to intervene, just once, and targets one of the upperclassmen. Yudaka unleashes his skills, kicking the ball hard into the bully's face. As the ball ricochets into the air, Aoi gets into position, ready for the follow-up. Aoi skillfully kicks the ball towards Make, who dives for a header. Unfortunately, he completely misses the shot, and the upperclassmen laugh at his failure. But with a wild look in his eyes, Yudaka declares that it's not over yet and sprints into action. Miyake dives for the ball again. As it nears his head, it suddenly gains a mysterious, powerful boost, streaking past him with incredible speed. The supercharged ball blasts past the goalie and smashes into the net. Goal. Aoi and Miyake celebrate their victory, but they are both confused as to why the ball suddenly sped up. Miyake, still on the ground, is in disbelief. Miyake asks Yudaka what he did. Yudaka holds up the candy Miyake gave him earlier, explaining that the basic principles are the same as throwing a kunai. He reveals his secret. He hit the ball with a piece of candy to give it a speed boost. Miyake is horrified when Yudaka says he'll wash the candy and eat it later so the gift doesn't go to waste. The team celebrates their win with a high five. Yudaka watches his happy teammates, a small smile on his face. Miyake calls Yudaka a simple guy. For a brief moment, Yudaka thinks to himself that clubs might not be so bad after all. After the game, a cheerful Miyake celebrates that the upperclassmen had to eat turds. Now that they've won, Aoi decides they should quit the club. As Miyake waves goodbye, he thanks Yudaka for the help. Then, his expression changes as he says chillingly, "Yes, there really was a ninja." Miyake's internal monologue reveals his true thoughts. He thinks that public safety must be involved, which explains their failures. He scoffs that Yudaka is bottom of the barrel and was easy to approach. All the while, Aoi and Yudaka walk away, completely oblivious to the danger. The chapter ends with a shocking reveal. Miyake's face twists into a sinister grin, his eyes glowing. He reveals that ninja slaying is a fugitive ninja's specialty and that they can just kidnap the girl later. On a rainy morning, a mysterious figure walks down the street, musing that there are 3 ninjas protecting his target, Aoi Mukai. He relishes the downpour, considering it perfect whether to pick them off one by one and complete his mission to kidnap her. The scene transitions to the front of a school, where students are arriving under their umbrellas. The same mysterious figure stands before them, thinking to himself that this is the best kind of day for an assassination. Inside, Yudaka stares out the window at the rain. His friend Nozuki greets him, remarking that Yudaka seems to enjoy the gloomy weather. Just then, a cheerful first-year student with glasses, Kana Fujimiya, pops in to say good morning. Suddenly, Kana Fujimiya's friendly demeanor vanishes. Her face turns intensely serious as she grabs Yudaka, telling him to come with her for a second. Her code name is revealed, Hibari. As Hibari leads a confused Yudaka away, he internally reflects that she's here on the same mission as him, but he shouldn't need to interact with her. Elsewhere, Nozuki wonders what she could possibly want. As Kana Fujimiya walks down the hallway, she is greeted warmly by other students who compliment her hair. She seems flustered by the attention, wondering what someone like her could possibly want with her. Hibari takes Yudaka to a quiet staircase landing. As she prepares to speak, they are interrupted by Nozuki, who awkwardly greets them. With a determined look, Hibari turns to Yudaka and makes a startling request. She needs him to teach her how to connect with other people. Yudaka is utterly shocked, exclaiming if she has lost her mind. Hibari claims that Yudaka is a natural at socializing, a statement that only flusters him more. He reflects on the nature of undercover ninjas, who may excel at infiltration but can only maintain superficial relationships. Yudaka has a horrifying realization. Since Aoi Mukai is Hibari's one and only friend, it means that this constitutes the best personal relationship she has managed to form as a ninja. Hibari desperately lists her social achievements, from finding gifts in her shoe cubby to going shopping with friends and even being recommended as class rep. Yadaka can only remark that it sounds like she's living the high school dream, oblivious to her distress. Yadaka is incredulous, demanding to know how she even got close to Aoi. He clenches his fist in frustration, lamenting that his job is to protect Aoi as her best friend, yet she doesn't seem to care about him at all. Completely lost, Yadaka admits he has no clue how to build relationships. He flashes back to various moments with Aoi Mukai, where she seems happy and engaged with him. Hibari, growing more desperate, repeats her plea with intensity, begging Yadaka to teach her his ways. Yadaka can only respond with a stunned, Just then, another classmate, a girl with dark hair, approaches and asks Kana if she's free after school. Hibari lets out a sigh of relief. Hibari struggles to respond, forcing a strained smile as she says she's free. The other girl looks concerned, noting that Hibari doesn't seem like herself and asking what's wrong. The classmate asks if Hibari wants to try a limited edition item she mentioned before. Hibari agrees, though she seems uninterested. As they walk off, Hibari desperately whispers to Yadaka, asking if she's doing it right, leaving him to lament about his strange predicament. A moment later, Aoi Mukai herself appears and asks Yadaka if he's free after school. Stunned, Yadaka replies that he is. Aoi explains that she needs to attend a chemistry refresher course since she hasn't done the homework and asks Yadaka to come with her. He is left speechless for a moment before she adds that she will be assigned to one anyway. Overjoyed, Yadaka thinks to himself that Aoi is the best. He mimics Hibari's earlier line, agreeing to go with her even though he's not particularly interested. From the staircase, Hibari watches them go. Yadaka glances back, thinking that he wishes he could be like her, with lots of friends, and questions if she really needs a change. Hibari shatters Yadaka's perception, stating that their classmates are not really friends and could even be enemies. Yadaka is shocked and angered by her cold logic, retorting that a ninja's job is to protect people and that she could never leave them to die. Back in the classroom, the girl from before reminds Kana that she's on duty to turn in assignments. Hibari is thrown into a panic, wondering which persona is the right one. She snaps aggressively at the girl, who recoils in fear. The classmate looks terrified and asks if Hibari is okay. Forcing her friendly mask back on, Hibari quickly reassures the girl she's fine, takes the assignments, and hurries off toward the science room. Upon arriving, Hibari finds the science room door is locked. Just as she wonders what to do, the very same assassin from the beginning of the chapter appears, casually holding up the key. He claims he was on duty and just remembered he had to submit his own work. The assassin unlocks the door, and as Hibari steps inside wondering where to leave the papers, he quietly locks it behind her. The sound of the click alerts Hibari, and she turns around with a start. The assassin lunges, grabbing at Hibari from behind. She reacts with shock, twisting away as he attacks. Yadaka, who had followed her, watches as Hibari narrowly dodges the attack, which shatters a window. The assassin wonders if she was on guard, while Yadaka is stunned that this enemy was so good at blending and that neither of them noticed him. The assassin throws a powerful punch at Hibari, who ducks just in time. The force of the blow pulverizes the wall behind her. Hibari realizes the assassin is much faster than he looks. With her left arm busted, she decides to retreat and let the other ninja handle him. As she makes a run for it, the assassin mocks her for being quick. To her horror, Hibari stops in her tracks. The classmate who asked her out earlier has followed her into the room and is now standing there, completely bewildered. Hibari panics, wondering what her classmate is doing here. The assassin, annoyed at the complication, reveals a set of sharp claws, complaining that he now has another mess to clean up in a place he chose for its seclusion. Hibari feels hopeless, believing she can't possibly fight the assassin and protect her classmate. She thinks she has to leave her behind. The oblivious girl, however, simply points out that Hibari's nose is bleeding. Yadaka's voice rings in her memory, and you could never leave them to die, Hibari. As this thought crosses her mind, the assassin lunges forward to attack. In a split-second decision, Hibari abandons her plan to escape and instead shoves her terrified classmate out of the path of the assassin's attack. Hibari shields the girl, apologizing that she had to see this. She blocks the assassin's claws with her bare hand. The assassin is taken aback, questioning why she didn't just abandon her. Hibari checks on her classmate, who is dazed but safe. Realizing she can't just pick her up and run, she grimly states that apparently, protecting others is part of the job. Then, something in Hibari snaps. She takes off her glasses, and her entire demeanor changes. A bloody, psychotic grin spreads across her face as she tells the assassin this will make things more interesting, and that she'll take him on with just one arm. The assassin looks on in disbelief. With a crazed look in her eyes, Hibari taunts him, asking if he seriously thinks they're even on the same playing field. To be continued. In the school hallway, a tense confrontation unfolds. Hibari, with a crazed look in her eyes, scoffs at Kana, questioning if they're even in the same league. In response, Kana, with a defiant glare, confidently declares she could take Hibari on with just one arm. Bokwa ditope. As Kana leaps back to create distance, Hibari's thoughts race. She plans to report the situation, but her mind is already on a greater threat, believing an enemy is present to eliminate the bodyguards before going after the main assignment. Hibari deftly plucks the communicator from Kana's ear, asking mockingly if she can borrow it. Kana looks on, completely caught off guard by the sudden move. Elsewhere, Yadaka talks on the phone, expressing his concern about Hibari's anger. He questions his contact about whether other ninjas use similar communication devices. Yadaka is informed that the communicators are mandatory for tracking locations during emergencies. He panics as he realizes the implications, asking if his contact was even listening to his concerns. Back in the hallway, Hibari stands over a rattled Kana, revealing that she knows about their communicators and directly asking if she's a ninja. Hibari then adds a twist, stating she herself was a ninja until she got out. The weight of the situation crashes down on Kana. She realizes she's in a terrible position, unable to contact anyone, injured, with a civilian to protect, and facing a formidable fugitive ninja. Hibari mocks their attempts at blending in, calling their acting painful to watch. Confident that she has the upper hand, she announces it's time to end things quickly. Kana, now completely flustered and offended, questions what exactly was so painful about her acting. A flashback shows Kana's over-the-top, cheerful greeting to her classmates, a prime example of her unnatural performance. Hibari continues her scathing review, comparing Kana's persona to a character from a children's educational program. The critique continues with another flashback. Hibari recalls when Kana playfully gave a classmate a forehead poke, an act that clearly disgusted her. Hibari isn't finished. She brings up the time Kana tripped during gym class, noting that her attempt to be adorable didn't seem realistic at all. In another flashback, Kana is seen striking a cutesy tee-hee pose after tripping in the gym, playing up the clumsiness. Humiliated, Kana collapses to the floor as Hibari demands she stop. Hibari, now holding a set of claws, mockingly repeats Kana's tee-hee, questioning how she's supposed to know how to act cute. Hibari throws a shuriken that narrowly misses the civilian girl Kana is protecting. She coldly informs Kana that her method of protection is also wrong. With a menacing look, Hibari declares Kana a failure as a ninja. She insists that for the sake of the mission, Kana should have abandoned the civilian and run. Refusing to back down, Kana shouts back defiantly that she is allowed to save whoever she wants, rejecting Hibari's ruthless logic. Hibari lunges forward, not at Kana, but past her, throwing another projectile with incredible speed. Kana's mind flashes back to her training. She remembers her master's stern words. Completing the mission is the absolute priority, and she must not act outside its confines. The memory continues, with her blindfolded master explaining that ninjas work for a greater cause, and therefore must ignore minor details like individual lives. A young Kana listens, confused. In the present, Yadaka's voice cuts through, expressing a completely different philosophy. It's a ninja's job to protect people. Slumped against the wall, Kana tells Yadaka to save the lecture. She bitterly admits that she already knew she couldn't win while protecting the girl. However, a fire reignites within her. Pushing herself up, Kana declares she's fine right where she is, fighting for a bigger goal without sacrificing the details. As Hibari scoffs that ideals won't help her advance, Kana readies herself for another clash, retorting, "Then who cares about advancement?" In response to Hibari's taunts, Kana lunges forward. She blocks a strike from Hibari, who is now wielding a pipe. Thinking fast, Kana grabs a stack of papers and throws them into the air, creating a chaotic scream to mask her next move as she unleashes a powerful scream. For a moment, Hibari is blinded by the flurry of papers, realizing too late that Kana has used them to obscure her vision for a stealth attack. Kana bursts through the paper cloud, throwing a powerful punch. However, her target isn't Hibari. To Hibari's surprise, Kana tackles Yadaka instead, taking him completely by surprise. Yadaka effortlessly stops Kana's attack, telling her it's enough before tossing her to the ground. As Kana pleads that she's at her limit, Hibari coldly remarks that her ideals couldn't save anyone. Yadaka confirms, one down. As Yadaka stands over the defeated Kana, a rattling sound comes from a nearby restroom door. The civilian girl inside says the door is locked and asks if they can break it open for her. Before Yadaka can react, a new figure with orange hair suddenly appears, sending Yadaka flying with a powerful kick and yelling, "Not like that." The newcomer then immediately seems to question his own aggressive action. Yadaka lies stunned amidst the wreckage of the wall, wondering what just hit him. From the floor, Kana remarks on how quick the attack was. A close-up reveals the newcomer is speaking into his communicator, reporting that he has arrived at the location where Hibari's own communicator stopped working. A flashback reveals the truth of the situation. The fight was a coordinated deception. Kana's tackle was a distraction, allowing Hibari to snatch the communicator from Yadaka. He finally understands that the device was her true target all along. As the realization dawns on Yadaka, he looks over at Kana, who has dropped her serious demeanor. She gives him a playful wink and a tee-hee, cheekily confirming her role in the elaborate ruse. The newcomer announces that he has eyes on the situation and is officially taking over from Hibari. Yadaka looks up from the floor, understanding that the mission has just taken another dangerous turn, and he's the next target. Shinobi Undercover, Chapter 7, as a ninja. Continuing from the last chapter, the fight begins. Yadaka first mistakes the attacker for someone named Nozuka, but then recognizes him as Miyake. From the side, Hibari shouts a desperate warning that Miyake is an enemy. With incredible force, Yadaka sends Miyake flying through the classroom's glass door. Below, Hibari recovers from the initial chaos while Yadaka lands gracefully after his powerful attack. Miyake stands up amidst the broken glass, pulling out two short blades. He coolly admits that with this commotion, his assassination attempt is now a failure, as all the ninja in the area have likely been alerted. With a crazed look in his eyes, Miyake turns his attention to the two students. Since his main mission has failed, he decides he'll just take care of Yadaka and Hibari instead. Panicked, Hibari uses her communication device to contact her operator. On the other end, the operator, hearing Hibari's frantic calls, asks what's happening. Hibari reports to her operator that an enemy has been hiding among their classmates. She confirms it was Miyake, and that he is a fugitive ninja. As Miyake prepares to fight, Yadaka's main concern is the state of the classrooms, wondering what they'll do when classes start after lunch. Miyake mocks him, stating that if there's one thing a third-rate ninja is good at, it's dodging. Miyake lunges at Yadaka, taunting him for his composed act and asking if he really cares more about the classrooms than his own life. The two boys face off. Miyake sarcastically calls Yadaka the cream of the crop. Meanwhile, Hibari explains to the operator that deserting is the greatest ninja taboo, and only the best, most troublesome ninjas can successfully go AWOL. Yadaka decides to get this over with. He lunges at Miyake, demanding to know who his target is and who gave him his orders. Miyake casually dodges Yadaka's attack and tells him to ask Aoi Mukai herself, suggesting she knows more than he does. Yadaka argues that Hibari was at a disadvantage while protecting a student, but Miyake dismisses it, saying it was her own weakness that prevented a fair fight. He asks Yadaka if making excuses for her isn't embarrassing for a ninja. Yadaka, with a serious expression, retorts that Miyake's words don't mean much, coming from a fugitive ninja who abandoned his own duties. Realizing he got too heated, Yadaka sheepishly apologizes. He explains that hearing a fugitive ninja talk about what a ninja should or shouldn't do just made him do a double take. Miyake seems annoyed by the apology. Miyake lectures Yadaka, asking if he understands how impressive it is that he survived as a fugitive ninja until now. He states that a normal ninja wouldn't be able to do that, and that Yadaka should take good advice no matter who it's from. Having lost the war of words, Yadaka looks downcast and simply says that he understands. Watching from the side, a girl comments that surprisingly, Yadaka seems to be winning their argument. This observation clearly irritates Miyake, who insists that Yudaka definitely doesn't get it. Done with the conversation, Miyake declares that talking is a waste of time and leaps in for another attack. Yudaka realizes that while Hibari managed to prevent any deaths earlier, someone is about to die now. The voice from the operator cuts in, telling Yudaka that eliminating the enemy is his priority. Hearing this, Hibari makes a decision and tells the operator to switch the comms to speaker mode before declaring, "So be it." Hibari shouts to Yudaka not to worry about anything else. Seeing Yudaka momentarily distracted, Miyake spots an opening and lunges forward, yelling, "You're wide open." But Yudaka wasn't distracted. In a flash, he drops to the ground and unleashes a powerful kick from a breakdance-like stance, striking Miyake squarely in the jaw. As Miyake falls, the operator's voice explains Yudaka's nature. As a ninja, he is useless at anything except combat. His ability tanks when he's trying to multitask. Yudaka panics, internally screaming about his conflicting duties, keeping Hibari safe, preventing damage to the classroom, and figuring out what Miyake wants. The operator calmly tells Hibari to watch, noting that this is how they would have used him if the assignment hadn't approached him first. Miyake, bleeding and on his knees, acknowledges Yudaka's power, but says he is wrong. Yudaka calmly replies that the better ninja was Hibari, who followed through with her duties. The statement leaves Miyake utterly stunned, just moments before Yudaka's final move. With the fight concluded, Yudaka looks down at the mess he's made, his hands still poised from the final blow. Yudaka's attack sends Miyake flying backward through the shattered classroom window and out into the rain. As another ninja watches from a rooftop, Yudaka and Hibari look on in shock. Miyake lands hard on the wet ground below with a thud, sending a splash of water and dirt into the air. Lying on the ground, bloodied and soaked by the rain, Miyake gasps for air, his eyes wide with the shock and pain of his utter defeat. Yudaka peers out of the broken window, but the operator quickly warns him not to stick his head out, as he might be seen by other students. Still on the ground, Miyake panics, realizing that Yudaka was not the weakling he appeared to be. Staring up at the window in terror, he vows to kill him the next time they meet. Miyake stumbles to his feet and runs off into the rain. Yudaka prepares to give chase, but the operator stops him, telling him his job is done and that other agents in the city will track the injured ninja down. The operator tells Yudaka this is why she usually stops him from going all out. He apologizes, looking at the wrecked hallway. As he puts his jacket back on, he marvels at his opponent, saying Miyake is on a completely different level. Hibari watches him silently. As Yudaka turns to check on Hibari, she thinks to herself how, despite being so skilled in combat, he's useless at everything else, and yet they still put him on missions. Switching completely from his combat persona, Yudaka gives Hibari a warm, gentle smile. He apologizes for being late and tells her he's glad she is okay. Completely caught off guard by his sudden kindness and sincere apology, all Hibari can do is stare back with a blush, wide-eyed in surprise as the chapter comes to a close. Shinobi Undercover, Chapter 8, The Two After School. The scene opens in what appears to be a school infirmary or hospital room. Hibari, resting in bed, holds up an apple and asks Yudaka to peel it for her. Yudaka agrees. In a flash, he deftly wields a knife, peeling and slicing the apple with incredible speed before it even has a chance to fall. Hibari looks on, stunned by his swift movements. The apple slices, perfectly shaped like little rabbits, are presented on a plate. Yudaka explains with a smile that this is the ninja art of kamaitachi, a strike so fast no one can see what happened. He figured she'd want to eat them soon. The scene provides context. The school has been closed for days. The official story, courtesy of public safety, is that gas cylinders in the science room exploded, but this was just a cover-up for the recent ninja battle. Back in the room, Yudaka asks Hibari how she feels. Despite her arm being in a cast, she brushes it off, saying she'll heal up in a few days. Yudaka smiles, genuinely relieved. He tells her he's glad she's okay, admitting that she was the better ninja for following through with her duties. Hibari becomes flustered, trying to bring up the topic of what happened earlier with Yudaka. She explains that they found intelligence about Miyake. He left a trail at public safety. She adds that he was a ninja under her command until a year ago, codenamed Tsubame, or Sparrow. Yudaka pulls up a graduation photo of a much younger, geekier-looking Miyake on his phone. He jokes that the picture is like blackmail and that they should spread it everywhere. As Yudaka wonders why Miyake was after Aoi, Hibari tells him that since he's already faced a fugitive ninja, she'll tell him. She suggests he just ask Aoi Mukai herself. In a somber tone, Hibari reveals a shocking truth. The assignment's family, Aoi's family, was killed by a ninja. The revelation hangs heavily in the air, leaving both Hibari and a stunned Yudaka speechless. Yudaka processes the information, immediately wondering if Miyake is somehow tied to the murder of Aoi's family. Overlooking the city, Hibari voices a grave concern. If the fugitive ninjas have joined forces in the shadows, they have a big problem, as their power is well documented and completely outclasses Miyake. The scene shifts to a park, where a disheveled man in a suit sits on a bench, smoking. He sighs, lamenting that luck isn't on his side, and idly wonders if pulling on his earlobes will make them fat and lucky like Buddhists. A hooded figure, Tsubame, appears. The man on the bench, annoyed, tells Tsubame not to eavesdrop on his monologue and asks for the getaway car. Tsubame points towards a wrecked van that has crashed into a pole, stating the obvious: the getaway vehicle is totaled. The man reacts with shock. The man angrily asks what Tsubame was doing. Tsubame apologizes, explaining that Aoi Mukai got away while he was distracted lighting his cigarette. Tsubame offers to report the screw-up to their higher-ups, but then adds that since the mission is already a bust, his wrecking the car doesn't matter. The man looks on in disbelief. Tsubame questions this logic, finding it wrong. This enrages the man, who looms over him menacingly, demanding to know what's wrong about it. In a display of power, a gust of wind swirls around them, sending leaves and trash flying into the air as the man asserts his dominance. He gets right in Tsubame's face, making it clear who's on top in their relationship. He declares that for fugitive ninjas, it's a ninja-eat-ninja world out there. This fugitive ninja is identified as Hachikuma. He sternly reminds Tsubame that an underling's job is to cover for his superiors, a statement Tsubame finds completely wrong, before telling him to get going. The scene cuts back to the school, where Yudaka is seen cleaning a classroom by himself after hours. He happily explains that he's covering for a classmate who had to rush off to his club activities. Yudaka seems thrilled that someone is counting on him. Through an internal monologue or a communication channel, Yudaka confirms the location of his assignment, Aoi. Hibari has seen her off to the shoe cubbies, where someone is scheduled to pick her up. Yudaka's thoughts darken as he recalls the terrible news. Aoi's family was murdered by a ninja. He worries about what she would think of him if she ever discovered his own identity as a ninja. He spots Aoi from a distance, walking with a friend. At the same time, he overhears two other students gossiping about him and Aoi, wondering what the deal is between them. Yudaka continues to listen to their speculation, wondering if they think he's her servant or perhaps a human shield she's using to keep creeps away. While Yudaka is lost in thought, relieved they haven't assumed anything stranger, there's a loud crash behind him. It's Hibari, who has clumsily tripped and now has a bucket on her head. Oblivious to her own state, she asks if Yudaka needs any help. As they clean up the mess together, Yudaka apologizes for making her help. Hibari explains that she overheard the baseball club members feeling guilty about leaving him with their duties, so she came. She nonchalantly adds, "Of course I'd help when you're in trouble." Leaning in, Hibari tells him she helps because they're friends. Yudaka laughs, realizing Hibari must have overheard the other students calling him a human shield earlier. He seems amused by the situation. Suddenly, their moment is interrupted as a stray baseball comes flying through the classroom window, shattering the glass pane. Reacting with his incredible ninja speed, Yudaka instantly moves to shield Hibari from the spray of broken glass, using his own body as a barrier. The immediate aftermath shows the baseball lying amidst the debris. Yudaka quickly checks if Hibari is okay, but she seems bewildered, asking what just happened, not having processed the speed of the event. In an internal report, Yudaka explains his actions. He used a small broom and dustpan to catch the flying glass in midair before it could hit his assignment, Hibari. He then spread the shards on the ground to make the scene look natural. His handler commends him for making the right call. The baseball players who hit the ball rush into the classroom, calling out to Nozuki to see if he's okay. They find Yudaka already beginning to sweep up the mess. Later, Yudaka and Aoi are seen walking home together along a riverbank. He thanks her for helping with the cleanup, though she notes that everyone ended up pitching in. He then hesitantly tries to bring something up. Mustering his courage, Yudaka earnestly promises Aoi that if she's ever in trouble, he will be there to help her. Aoi smiles brightly, waving as she cheerfully accepts his offer. As they continue walking, she playfully asks if she can see his math homework, bringing a light-hearted end to a tense day.